Let's talk about relays. These simple devices let you control loads with huge currents and voltages, all triggered by tiny signals, for example from your Arduino or ESP32. However, there are some serious challenges and pitfalls you might not be aware of. Get these details wrong and you could easily destroy your components. Let's start with the basics. The most important parts of a relay are the coil and the contacts. When a voltage is applied to the coil, current flows through it, creating a magnetic field. If the current is strong enough, the armature is attracted to the coil. This causes it to pivot and switch the contacts. When the current through the coil stops, the magnetic field collapses and the spring pushes the contacts back to their original state. There are different types of contacts in relay. Normally open, normally closed, and the common contact. So to sum it up, by sending a small current through the coil of the relay, you can control one or more completely independent circuits that can handle much higher currents or voltages. However, a coil is not just an electromagnet. It also stores energy. When you apply voltage to the coil, it starts to charge. The current increases until it reaches a maximum, which is determined by the resistance of the wire. Now here's the tricky part. If you try to turn off this current by removing the voltage from the coil, the energy stored in the coil doesn't just disappear. As long as there is energy in the coil, current will continue to flow. It's as simple as that. Yes, you remove the voltage, but the coil now uses its stored energy to keep the current flowing. And here's the catch. The coil will create a voltage high enough to ensure that the current keeps flowing, destroying anything or anyone in its way if necessary. To make this point clear, there is nothing you can do to stop the current from flowing until the stored energy is depleted. If needed, the coil will even create arcs to maintain the current flow. In fact, this principle is used to ignite combustion engines. So while we can't stop this current flow, we can make sure that it doesn't generate dangerously high voltages. We do this by giving the current a safe path to flow, using a flyback diode. So the yellow line is the input voltage and the blue line is the output voltage. If you now turn on the relay, you see between 8 and 10 milliseconds. But how long will it take to turn off the relay? It's not very beautiful. We see some bouncing and also again a time between 8 and 10 milliseconds. Which is interesting because I thought it will be more. Let's add a Zener diode to the flyback diode to increase the voltage and then see what happens. The flyback diode keeps the voltage at around 0.7 volt. We can see it here. This is the flyback diode voltage. And if we increase this voltage, then in theory we should reduce the time until the energy is depleted, because then we have more voltage, reducing the stored energy inside of the coil quicker. Alright, let's do it again. Now I'm using a 24 volt Zener diode and we need to change the scale. So now the voltage drops to minus 24 volts or approximately minus 24 volts. Now the voltage across the relay coil is bigger. We remove the energy from the coil quicker. In most applications it will not matter at all because we're talking about milliseconds here. It was 10 milliseconds before and now it is around 3 milliseconds. If we now want to switch this relay using an Arduino, I can't directly connect this relay to the Arduino because this relay runs on 24 volts. There are also 5 volt relays. So for example, this one right here, the current will be 120 milliamps in this one. So this is way too much for our Arduino. So in order to use this relay with an Arduino, we need an additional transistor. So the Arduino turns on the transistor and then the transistor turns on the relay. But never forget the flyback diode, because otherwise you will destroy your transistor. I will use a BC337 and the circuit should look like this. We have the Arduino with one GPIO. The GPIO will be connected to a resistor and the resistor will be connected to the base of the transistor. The emitter will be connected to ground and also the Arduino will be connected to the same ground. And then we can use this transistor to turn on the coil of our relay. I call it K1. Here we have 24 volt. This high voltage will not be in contact with the Arduino because we have this transistor that takes care of it. We have a base emitter voltage according to the datasheet of 1.2 volt. We have a voltage across the resistor of 5 minus 1.2, which equals 3.8. The transistor amplifies the signal and we have a minimum DC current gain of 100. We need 120 milliamps to flow here, and so the minimum amplification is 100, so we need 1.2 milliamps here, and we can calculate the resistor. It is the voltage divided by the current, and in this case we have 3.8 divided by 0.0012 amps. So this is 3.17 kilo ohm. Okay, I only have 2.2 kilo ohm, that's also fine. Because the resulting current will be 3.8 volts divided by 2200 ohm equals 1.7 milliamps, should be perfect. Awesome. Now that's great, but right now I'm using this relay to turn on and off this resistor, which makes no sense. It's not really required. So now we can use this relay to turn on or off whatever we want. If you're working with dangerous voltages, please stay safe. And so now we can even turn on light bulbs, for example. Something smells, but it's not the Arduino. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.